Hello and welcome to New Mexico Rising. My name is Dan. You know, each and every week I try to bring people from all across the country to talk to me about cool things we can do right here in New Mexico. On this week's show,
all right, you two, where can we get naked in a rideshare?
By making communities more resilient.
Yeah, they haven't aged at all. Like, I think Keenan just did a thing on SNL where he was...
That's all right here on New Mexico Rising. With the holiday season approaching, it's not too early to start thinking about your 2024 family travel plans. And joining us now to discuss why cruising offers the best value for your vacation dollar and some exciting new Friday deals is travel expert and senior editor-in-chief of Cruise Critic is Colleen McDaniel. Welcome to the show, Colleen. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, Dan.
I've never been on a cruise, so enlighten me. Why do you think cruises are such a great option for families to travel together?
Well, for starters, cruising is stress and hassle-free. You book and then virtually everything is taken care of for you. Plus, once you're on board, you unpack once and you get to visit multiple destinations around the world. And along the way, you get incredible friendly service. It's truly the best vacation value there is. When you compare cruising with land-based vacation, cruising wins hands down. And that's because its pricing is more inclusive. When you're on a cruise, it includes all of your meals, which are amazing, world-class entertainment, lodging, and of course, transportation from port to port.
And do you have any tips to help people kind of plan that perfect cruise itinerary?
Yeah, so at Cruise Critic, we always recommend that people do their research. Cruise lines visit literally hundreds of destinations around the world. So sites like Cruise Critic can really help you find your dream destination and also find the ship that is just right for you. Another tip, booking ahead is the only way to guarantee that you get the itinerary you want, on the ship you want, in the cabin you want, at a price that fits your budget. New ships, which are loaded with very family-friendly activities, are in high demand. So if you want to book a new ship, you should absolutely book ahead. Norwegian Cruise Line, for example, has a number of new ships, including its new award-winning Prima class of ships.
So what kind of holiday deals can travelers expect for probably this year?
Well, Black Friday is just around the corner, and it's really become the best time of year to book a cruise. Families looking to nail down their 2024 summer vacations will find some incredible deals out there. Now, if you don't want to wait, Norwegian Cruise Line is already offering its Black Friday deal, and that is 50% off all cruises. And what we love is that they are pairing it with their free at sea offer, which includes up to 6 perks, including open unlimited bar, free Wi-Fi, specialty dining, and much more. The sale also applies to all ships and all itineraries, so you don't have to worry that you're missing out.
That sounds like a better Black Friday deal than waiting in line at a box store and trying to punch people for big screen TVs. All right, so what are some of the most popular destinations for family travel this next year?
Yeah, so families can explore bucket list destinations like Europe. Norwegian Cruise Line, for example, offers some immersive itineraries where you spend more time in port, which means more time to bond and explore together as a family. Of course, Alaska is hot. We love Alaska because it is one of the most picturesque places on the planet. You can catch wildlife sightings, explore nature, or really learn about culture and the local people who live there. But let's not forget about the Caribbean, because the Caribbean is amazing for its sunshine, for its beaches. Norwegian Cruise Line's new ship, Norwegian Aqua, which debuts in 2025, will be sailing Caribbean itineraries. So if you really want to get ahead on your planning, book something like Norwegian Aqua.
Well, Colleen McDaniel, you're a wealth of information. I knew nothing about cruises until now. So thank you for all of that. Where can we go for more information about any of this?
Visit cruisecritic.com. And for more information on the deals I talked about, the destinations, and the great activities you can do on board ships, visit ncl.com.
Colleen McDaniel, thanks for joining me this morning.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
As we venture deeper into an era where wildfires are no longer seasonal, but kind of like a year-round threat, addressing this relentless adversary requires innovative strategies. With us today are David A. Sampson, the president and CEO of the American Property Casualty Insurance Association, and Dr. Kimiko Barrett, a leading wildfire research and policy analyst at Headwaters Economics. They've been at the forefront of the Wildfire Mitigation and Management Commission's efforts to redefine our approach to this growing threat. Welcome to the show, you two. How are you guys?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having us.
Okay, so what is the Wildland Commission, and how can you tell us two or three key themes and recommendations from its report?
Well, because of just what you said, the Congress, as a part of the Bipartisan Infrastructure Act, created the Wildfire Mitigation and Management Commission. We issued our final report at the end of September. It is comprehensive. All of the recommendations in the report were adopted by unanimous consensus of the commission, which was very broad-based and a diverse group. And I think the overarching theme of the commission's report is that we have to change from being reactive to wildfires to being proactive. And what that means is being much more engaged on the front end, investing on the front end before these disasters occur by reducing fuel loads, by making communities more resilient, and then on the back end of fires in the post-fire recovery area, making sure that we don't build back to the status quo that existed before the disaster, but we build back communities in a much more resilient way so that we prevent these disasters from occurring again.
So what are some critical steps consumers should take to reduce the potential impact of wildfires?
Yeah, so there are really three key things that homeowners can do to reduce the potential impact from wildfires. First and foremost is to remove flammable materials in and around the home. So decades of research and of science demonstrates that a home's building materials, design, and landscape are critical determinants of a home's survivability from a wildfire. So essentially, by reducing the amount of flammable surface area on your property and home, you can minimize the chances of your home burning from embers and small spot fires. And this, of course, should be complemented, as David noted earlier, by planning efforts and fuels reduction efforts in and around the community itself. So second to that is to talk with your neighbors and to ensure that they are taking similar actions to reduce the flammable surface around their home and to reduce and minimize that risk reduction, and therefore to your home and the larger neighborhood as well. And then lastly, for all of us, is to prepare for wildfires ahead of time and before they become a disaster. So this includes things like purchasing air filters, having an evacuation plan, engaging with your fire district and getting a home site level assessment performed, and then of course, speaking with your insurance provider. And all of this can be done relatively easily and before that fire does impact a community and the home itself, and to ensure that you, your neighbors, and the community itself are better prepared and have minimized the worst outcomes.
And with climate change and inflationary pressures making it more costly to rebuild after a wildfire, what are three insurance-related tips and important financial preparedness steps that can be done to prepare for a wildfire?
Well, building off what Kimi said, individual homeowners can retrofit their homes to make them more resilient and prevent embers from that are carried on the wind from up to 4 to 5 miles away. Things like replacing the vents on your attic's eaves and crawl spaces with very fine meshed vents. We know scientifically that that's how most homes ignite in wildfire scenarios. Secondly, take an inventory of all of your home and your furnishings within your home. Take your phone, do a video around your home so that you've got a record should the worst happen. And then third, talk with your insurance agent to make sure you have the kind of coverage that you need given your risk exposure. And even if you're renting a home, you can get rental insurance to help protect your belongings.
So what are the cost implications for consumers and communities related to being more wildfire prepared?
So building a home to be more wildfire prepared can be done affordably and effectively with existing building materials, many of which are already in the market and are widespread use, but not commonly perceived for their wildfire resistance, such as an asphalt shingled roof, fiber cement siding, and dual paned tempered glass windows. So as I noted, many of these building materials cost the same, if not cheaper than traditional building products, and are commonly in use already. But what I think is really important, and as David just noted, is that many actions that a homeowner can take to reduce their risk can be done for free and really over a weekend. And this does include things like removing the pine needles from your gutters, taking the firewood off of your deck, and ensuring that non-combustible zone around the home itself. And that the community cost scale for those retrofitting needs and building materials that will cost more for homeowners who may not be able to afford it, there is a need for subsidies, grants, and incentives that can bolster those homeowner level actions that are needed to reduce community-wide risk and for everybody to thrive with increasing wildfire.
David, Kimi, thanks for joining me this morning. Where can we go for more information about any of this?
You can go to www.apci.org/wildfire, and you can link from there. You'll have access to the Commission's report as well as consumer tips that we've talked about.
David, Kimi, thank you for joining me this morning.
Appreciate your
Appreciate it.
A new book by two of the youngest comedy writers out of late night television kind of takes a look at what it's like to be young today. So joining us are Rebecca Shaw and Ben Cronengold, co-authors of this book right here, Naked in the Rideshare, Stories of Gross Miscalculations. And they say Will Ferrell calls the book daring and ahead of the curve, and Jimmy Fallon calls them voices of their generation. And Rebecca and Ben are coming off 2 years of writing for Jimmy on NBC's The Tonight Show, a dream job of mine. Welcome to the show. Rebecca Shaw, someone who realizes life is back to making bad decisions because beyond choosing a football star. And Ben Cronengold probably thinks I'm a talking ficus. Oh, I mean ficus.
Ficus. It's so good to be here, Dan. Thank you for having us.
You're one of our favorite potted plants.
Oh, good. Thank you. So what was the inspiration for Walk Around Naked in a Ride? Writing the book Naked in the Rideshare.
You know, I feel like young people today have had a rough go of it between the pandemic and, inflation, climate change. And one thing we're really seeing in our friends is that everyone's turning to comedy to cope, whether that's TikTok or meme culture. So something we really wanted to do with the book, with Naked in the Rideshare, is to cast sort of a love letter / roast of our generation.
All right. Well, so this is trauma dumping. I can see that. All right. What are some of your favorite stories from the book, Naked in the Rideshare? I'm going to say it over and over again so that people get used to it and they're going to end up buying it. So, favorite stories from Naked in the Rideshare? Yeah. I'm plugging it for you.
We love it. There are so many stories, and they're really bite-sized, which is really nice. One of my favorites is about a couple that met on The Bachelor, but their entire love story is told from the perspective of their engagement ring, and who thinks this is just the most magical, pure love they've ever seen. Or we have a story about Julius Caesar getting stabbed to death. Except in our version, Julius is just really relieved to find out that the senators weren't just hanging out without him.
Yeah,
they had a reason to get together.
Bad FOMO.
Yeah, it's a FOMO story.
We also have nonfiction pieces we love as well. We have a story that's just a list of things that Ben's mother tells her friends he does for a living. Basically, it's anything except TV writer.
Yeah, it's a long, long chapter, actually.
All right, so I'm so jealous of your career right now. I wish I was you. So the question is, how did you guys get your big break? How'd you jump in, and how can I take notes and follow along?
We actually met freshman year of college. Ben and I started writing together and dating right around then. And our senior year of college, as you alluded to, we gave this graduation speech that got some attention online. And that's how Jimmy found us. So he hired us to be sketch writers at The Tonight Show. It was the most wonderful experience. We're so, so grateful. And now we're just so excited to take that comedic voice and what we learned on the show and bring it to Naked in the Rideshare.
Oh, okay. I really thought you didn't know anything about a difference between people and plants. So
yeah,
I thought that was
We're still learning.
Sorry. There was a video about this. This was a comedy bit. I thought that was real. I'm sorry. I guess who is Naked in the Rideshare for, and what does the title of Naked in the Rideshare actually mean?
Yeah, great question. The book is very much about 20-somethings, about Gen Z. So if you're a young person, you can read and feel sort of lovingly roasted and very seen by the book. But it's also, I think, for the parents and grandparents of those kids who want to know what's making their kids laugh and what's making them anxious, what makes them tick.
Yeah, and I think one thing we've really realized as our parents read the book and our parents' friends read it is so many of these experiences aren't just for this generation. They have been true of coming of age for years and years. So I think we're really viewing this as an opportunity for people to laugh together and really commiserate about all the weird stuff about your 20s.
All right, you two, where can we get naked in a rideshare?
No.
It is available wherever books are sold for pre-order now, and it'll be out on Tuesday.
Rebecca Shaw, Ben Cronigold, thanks for joining me this morning. I'm sorry, I was just messing around.
You, Dan.
Your bit was really, really funny. I loved it to death. So if you haven't even seen that video, I'll put the link on the screen so you can check it out.
Please do.
Yeah, go check it out. That'll be funny. It was funny. Sorry, I was making references to it, and I stumbled through it. Cat in my lap and all that good stuff.
We are honored, yeah.
In a world of economic challenges, how does the next generation of adults view their financial future? Today, we're joined by Julia Bartok, financial advisor at Edward Jones, to delve into the mindset of Gen Next. Young adults aged 18 to 34, despite facing unprecedented times, this group is kind of showing a blend of optimism and practicality in financial planning. Julia is also bringing a little insight from a recent study and her expertise in guiding clients through their financial journeys. So let's find out how Gen Next is balancing today's expenses with tomorrow's plans. Welcome to the show, Julia.
Thank you, Dan.
All right, so what are some of the factors that kind of define Gen Next?
Gen Next is extremely diverse, with over half identifying as non-white. They are also the most educated generation in history. 1 in 3 have some education, while 1 in 4 have a bachelor's degree or more. So that education combined with easy access leads them to seek not 1 or 2, but many sources to consult, learn, plan, and act. And many have experienced or aspire to experience traditional life events like marriage or home ownership. And although Gen Next has grown up with the internet, they really value and prioritize meaningful interactions as contributing to their overall personal wellness. Nearly a third ranked mental health as the most important contributor to their overall wellness. And the last is comfort. Their main priority is being comfortable. They want enough money to have a meaningful life, and they view the pursuit of purpose, not financial accumulation, as the main value of a career.
So what are the assumptions that today's young adults, and how does this new study defy some of those assumptions?
Despite many popular assumptions, Gen Next, they're hardworking, they're ambitious, and they're navigating the challenges that come with this life stage, but also the social and economic challenges of today. Despite being born in the digital era and portrayed as happiest on their devices, Gen Next are happy homebodies, with more than half reporting they feel most fulfilled when spending time with family and friends. And they also desire for in-person connections, where it's naturally easier to share information, and they really value the trust that's built from in-person interactions. And lastly, despite common misperception, only 20% use social media or influencers as sources of financial guidance. Gen Next, they are information omnivores. They seek trusted information from everyone around them.
So what is their approach to work and finance?
Employer loyalty is a lot less important to this group. Instead of the career ladder, we're now using the term career pogo sticks. Gen Next, they are highly mobile and they're comfortable moving from job to job. They're also comfortable wearing multiple hats, with many reporting that they have a side hustle to bring in some extra income to help fund their basic expenses or outside of their basic expenses. And Gen Next, they want the flexibility in where and when they work. So they're open to more non-traditional career paths. So naturally, this group will have diverse financial needs when impacting how they save, they spend, and invest.
Julia Bartok, thanks for joining me this morning. Where can we go for more information about all this?
Go to edwardjones.com/financialfuture.
Julia Bartok, thanks for joining me this morning, my friend.
Thank you, Dan.
As the deadline for Medicare open enrollment is coming up on December 7th, do you feel ready? Since there's so many options to navigate, I have a guest who could probably help. Today, we have Shannon Hills, Regional Administrator for the Centers of Medicare and Medicaid Services. With over 2 decades of experience managing large-scale health and human services programs, I bet she knows a thing or two about enrollment. Welcome to the show, Shannon. How are you?
Thank you, Dan. I'm great. It's so good to be with you today.
Okay, so why is open enrollment important for people with Medicare?
Open enrollment is important for people with Medicare because this is the time of year when you can review current healthcare options, compare them to other plans to see, is this the best plan for me? Or maybe there is something else that when you look at your prescription drug coverage, when you look at your healthcare needs, maybe some things have changed. So we really want people every year to review their current coverage, see maybe if there's an opportunity to save some money, and just to make sure that they have the best plan available.
So who can participate in Medicare open enrollment?
Medicare open enrollment is available to all individuals 65 age or older, individuals with certain disabilities, and individuals of any age with end-stage renal disease.
So what's new with Medicare program that people should kind of know about?
So glad that you asked, Dan. There are so many new changes with the Medicare program. The Inflation Reduction Act, which was a law that was recently passed, has brought about some great changes. For example, for individuals with diabetes, insulin is now capped at $35 a month for a 1-month supply of insulin. As well, there are vaccines that are now covered with no cost share for individuals with Medicare. Think of vaccines like the shingles that we know can be very expensive. That's now covered at no additional cost share. And beginning in 2024, just a few months from now, individuals with high prescription drug cost, once they reach what is called the catastrophic threshold, they will no longer have any additional out-of-pocket cost for deductibles and cost shares. So those really amount to significant cost savings, significant new improvements for people with Medicare, and those have been brought about through the Inflation Reduction Act.
So I know the deadline's on the 7th. What happens if people miss the deadline?
If people miss the deadline, they may have to wait until next year during open enrollment to make changes to their prescription drug or healthcare plans. That's why it's so important that we want individuals to begin that process now. Thanksgiving is just around the corner. This is a wonderful opportunity for individuals with Medicare to, again, review their options. They can do that by going online to medicare.gov or by calling 1-800-MEDICARE. There, they can review side-by-side comparisons. They can put in their current medications and really do that look to see, is the plan they have the one that they want to keep. And so again, the Thanksgiving holidays, as many families come together, presents a wonderful opportunity to sit down and do that together.
So where can people get help comparing some of these plans?
Medicare.gov. Also, 1-800-MEDICARE. The phone line is open 24 hours a day, even on weekends. So there are wonderful opportunities to connect. As well in the local area. So Albuquerque, Bernalillo, several of the areas that we know the individuals in your area are a part of, they can go online to SHIP Help. That's SHIP help.org. And there they can find local information from the state health insurance program to also be able to provide unbiased information on the Medicare program.
Shannon, thanks for joining me this morning.
Thank you so much, Dan.
All right, let's go a little back in time and revisit something from our past. If we're gonna go get ourselves one of the best cheeseburgers I've ever wanted to try, it's time to go to, yes, Good Burger. Good Burger 2 is now out, and the man behind it, we got director and executive producer Phil Trail here talking about Good Burger 2. Hey man, you're just taking us back to our childhood. I'm basically the same age as these guys, and it just reminds me of like my youth growing up, working at a job like that, and then now having families. And these kids don't look like kids. These people don't even look like they changed or aged a day in their life. How was it like revisiting the world of Good Burger?
Well, it was the same for me, but I was like visiting it because I was a big fan back in the day too. And then I got to go on set and direct them. It was like, what is happening? So it was an amazing experience. And Yeah, they haven't aged at all. Like, I think Keenan just did a thing on SNL where he was, him and Timothy Chalamet were joking about having baby faces, and they really have. They still look like they're sort of 20 years old and having fun. And they're still giggling and having a laugh. And it's just, they're having the best time ever. So it was easy for me.
I could tell, like, when watching the movie, you could just feel, like, behind the scenes. Was it just, like, them having fun, messing around, just playing with friends, and then getting down to business when it's time to tape? But, like, how was that energy behind the scenes for a movie like this?
Yeah, it was, they loved it. And yeah, it was a little bit like, guys, can we focus up here? We got some script to do. We got some actual filming work to do now. But no, it was great. They were on it. They were super excited and super easy to work with right from the get-go. Like, Kel's been playing Ed for 25 years now, 30 years probably. So he knows his character so well. And everything, if we wanted to hit some improv, we just said, go for it, Kel. And he went for it. And he's crushed it every time.
So yeah, Kel just fits that role and understands the goofy, naive, stupid character. But
yeah,
how was it working with, like, do you just let him free sometimes and be like, hey, you guys can improvise on this, hit these points, or how does that work? Do you guys get to the script and then maybe do a couple of takes with nothing but pure improv, just seeing if they can get the room laugh?
Yeah, the problem is you do the scene and then you don't say cut, because just let them have fun. And then normally in life, they do 10 or 20 seconds of chat and, and then you say cut, and everyone giggles and you pretty much know you're not going to use what just happened. But on this, I just wouldn't say cut and they just keep going, and then I wouldn't say cut. And then after a while, I'm like, I got to say cut sometime. And then we used tons of it. Like, we used lots of it because it was the most relaxed, fun stuff. But also the script is great. The original writers of Good Burger came and rewrote and wrote Good Burger 2. So the script is super solid and super funny. And there's lots of physical gags and lots of big stunts and all of this. So that need proper planning, and they couldn't muck around too much when that was happening. But it's a good mix of, like, free improv and then huge planned chaos.
All right, so we got to get to the story of it a little bit. Can you tell us what the story about Good Burger is about?
I mean, it's pretty simple. Good Burger is still thriving after 25 years. It's still going, and Ed's got a more responsible role there now. And then they find out there's some baddies with some evil plans. They want to. I won't give too much away, but it's like a little bit like Good Burger the original, but to the extreme. The baddies are worse than ever. There's some robots. There's some chaos. There's the biggest food fight you've ever seen. All that good stuff.
All right, Phil Trail, thanks for bringing such a fun movie. That's all I got to say. It's Good Burger. You're walking into what you're getting. It's a ridiculous, silly, dumb movie, but it's fun. So definitely check it out. Thank you for joining us this morning. And yeah, I loved it. Good Burger 2, it's now available on Paramount Plus. Thanks for joining me, Phil.
Thank you.
And that is it for New Mexico Rising. Follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, or go to our new website, newmexicorising.com. We're putting cool things on there that some of our clients send us for free, and we'll give those to you for free. All you got to do is pay for the shipping, and it's yours. That's it for the show this week. Until next week, that was New Mexico Rising.